Here's a look at the infamous events surrounding the D.B. Cooper hijacking. D.B. Cooper, the mysterious man who vanished without a trace after hijacking a plane and parachuting out of the plane with $200,000 in ransom money. The enigma of D.B. Cooper continues to baffle investigators as no one has yet uncovered the true identity of the elusive hijacker. On the afternoon of November 24, 1971, a nondescript man calling himself Dan Cooper approached the counter of Northwest Orient Airline in Portland, Oregon. He used cash to purchase a one-way ticket on flight number 305 bound for Seattle, Washington. On the FBI.gov website, they described him as a quiet man who appeared to be in his mid-40s wearing a business suit with a black tie and white shirt. In his hand was also a briefcase. Later on the plane, he ordered a drink while the flight was waiting to take off. Around 3 p.m. on the flight, he handed a note to a flight attendant claiming he had a bomb in his briefcase and wanted her to sit with him. The flight attendant was sitting in the jump seat in the back of the plane behind Cooper. She said that he demanded that she stay with him. She also said that he appeared familiar with the area because while looking out the window in the plane, he said, "Looks like Tacoma down there." She also said he was not nervous and seemed rather nice and was not cruel or nasty. She also asked him, "Why this plane?" And he said, "It's not because I have a grudge against your airline. It's because I just have a grudge." After the flight attendant sat down next to him, he opened his bag and showed her a glimpse of a mess of wires and red-colored sticks and demanded that she write down what he told her. Soon after, she walked the note to the captain of the plane. The note demanded 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills. He also demanded that upon landing in Seattle, that the fuel trucks were to meet the plane and all the passengers must remain seated while the flight attendant brought the money aboard. He would release the passengers after he had the money. The last items that would be brought aboard would be the parachutes. The pilot informed SeaTac Air Traffic Control of the situation aboard the plane. Air Traffic Control then contacted Seattle Police and the FBI. Passengers were told that there would be a delay in their flight due to minor difficulties. The president of Northwest at the time authorized the payment of ransom and told their employees to cooperate with the hijacker. When the FBI received the call, they immediately opened an intensive investigation. A passenger from that flight stated that he used the bathroom directly behind Cooper several times. On his way back to his seat, the path was blocked by another passenger wearing a cowboy hat. He was asking the flight attendant questions about the delay. Cooper was amused at first, but then became irritated and told the passenger with the cowboy hat to return to his seat. But the passenger ignored him. Now the flight attendant recalled the interaction differently. She said, the passenger approached her and asked for a sports magazine to read because he was bored. She walked him right behind Cooper's seat where they looked for magazines. He took the New Yorker and returned to his seat. When the flight attendant got back, Cooper said, "If that is a sky marshal, I don't want any more of that." She reassured him that there isn't any air marshals on this flight. Even though Cooper interacted with the cowboy, he was never identified. After the flight landed safely in Seattle, the hijacker exchanged 36 passengers for $200,000 and 4 parachutes, 2 front parachutes and 2 back parachutes. He kept several crew members and the plane took off again. He ordered to set course for Mexico City, stopping in Reno to refuel. Somewhere between Seattle and Reno after 8 p.m., the hijacker jumped out of the plane from the back with a parachute. He demanded that the plane's landing gear must remain deployed. The wing flaps must be lowered 15 degrees and the cabin must remain unpressurized. Cooper wanted the flight attendant to lower the plane stairs. She was scared that they would be sucked out. He said he would lower it himself and told her to go back to the cockpit. The flight attendant asked him to take the bomb with him, and he said he'll disarm it or take it with him. He used the cord from one of the parachutes to tie the ransom money bag shut. He then pressed the button to lower the back stairs of the airplane. He then jumped with 2 parachutes, including the one that was used for instructions and was sewn shut. Shortly after, the plane landed, but Cooper had disappeared into the night, and his ultimate fate remains a mystery to this day. After the safe landing, the FBI agents, state troopers, and the police were surrounding the plane. They then sent in the bomb squad, who later on determined that the plane was safe. The FBI called the case NORJAC for Northwest Hijacking. The FBI also interviewed hundreds of people and went all across the nation tracking leads. They also searched the aircraft for evidence. James Long, a reporter, recorded the name Don Cooper as D.B. Cooper. Then, the United Press International Wire Service reporter republished the same era. The hijacker was now called D.B. Cooper. On the 5th year anniversary, the FBI had already considered over 800 suspects and eliminated all except 24 of them. One person from that list was Richard Floyd McCoy. The FBI tracked him down and arrested him for a similar airplane hijacking and escaped using a parachute less than 5 months after Cooper's flight. McCoy was later ruled out. He didn't match the nearly identical physical description of Cooper provided by the 2 flight attendants, and for other reasons that was not made known to the public. On the FBI.gov website, it says, perhaps Cooper didn't survive his jump. After all, the parachutes he used couldn't be steered. His clothing and footwear were unsuitable for a rough landing, and he jumped into a wooded area at night, a dangerous proposition for a seasoned pro, which Cooper wasn't. In 1980, a young boy found a rotten package full of $20 bills in the amount of $5,800 in all. The bills matched the serial numbers of the ransom money. On July 2016, the FBI suspended all active investigation of the case. What are some of your theories about the D.B. Cooper case? I would love to hear about it. Here are what some Reddit users are saying. 1 year ago, a Reddit user said, there are so many rabbit holes to go down when it comes to the Cooper case. Too many people dismiss or ignore the facts if they don't match their narrative. There are certain things that are factual and people need to stick to the facts. Never deviate from the facts. If what we know for certain doesn't match your proposed suspect or narrative, you can't change the fact to fit. This case needs to be simplified, not complicated. When that happens, maybe progress will be made. Another Reddit user said, see, I think he passed out from hypothermia and was unalive. And the money just happened to end up in that riverbank by some means. Animals, maybe? Considering he jumped from a cruising altitude plane with no jump gear, he would have either passed out from having no oxygen or from being in negative 30 degrees air. I don't think he survived, even by a miracle. The search for him is just a waste of time and money by the FBI. 2 years ago, someone said, D.B. Cooper is unalive. And then someone replied and said, yes, well, he would be 90 years old and he was a heavy smoker. LOL. Here's the last one. 2 years ago, another Reddit user wrote, he could have been working with someone who stashed winter coveralls at the back of the aircraft. So many possibilities. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I would love to read them. Until next time, this is Mona Reads.